Hello, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here today to talk about how to free yourself from the bondage of 3D. Welcome to the channel. This is a place where we help you hack through the jungles of consciousness so you can discover the hidden treasures inside of you. My friends, is all there, ready and waiting to be activated by you, through you, and for you. If that sounds good, please subscribe. We'd love to have you on the channel. Thanks to the push of people we got, new subscribers. Newsflash, this is a manifestation channel. There seemed to be some confusion about that, so I hope I'm clear when I speak about that. But yeah, we're going to talk about freeing yourself from the bondage of 3D today. I am learning and growing and up-leveling as I teach you guys this stuff, and I had a massive insight a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to share this with you and tell you that this may be the one belief that if you change it, the floodgates are going to open for you. The floodgates will open for you in this whole reality creation thing. And that realization was that I was still giving power away to the 3D reality. I was still looking to it for a small part to vindicate me, to prove that what I was claiming about myself was actually true. I was still doing that. And the minute I felt the shift inside of me, when I was like, everything comes from my imagination. That is the origin point. That is the source. That is where it all begins. If I want to change something, that is where I go. That's where I go. I don't go robotically affirming and staring at the 3D and saying, is it there yet? Did it change? Did it change? I don't pretend when I imagine. Like, I'm not pretending. I don't see imagination as pretending anymore. Our imaginations are our creator capacity. That is where we find what we want, because it's all when you think about imagination as an experience, right? Everything is there. You can be, do, and have anything you want. When people say that, they're talking about an imagination. Imagination is not some fantasy place where we go have a nice little daydream. Imagination is literally your capacity to look through time and space and potential and locate what you want, because it feels good. You're like, bingo, that's what I want. That's who I want to be. That's what I want, the outcome I want to see in my 3D reality. And how we bring it forth then is we stand in that. We stand in that place. We're like, okay, I see an imagination. I feel it. It's true. We invest truth into it. We invest our truth and our belief into it. We get behind it 100%. Go all the way. Go all the way. And then that's when it comes through in physical reality. And at that point, it doesn't matter, because you're already being it. You're already being it. You're having it. You're being it. You're experiencing it from imagination, where everything is possible. It's really hard to look out in 3D reality and say everything is possible when it looks the same and has looked the same for the last 20 years. It's hard for me to do that. And there was a part of me that still had its claws and like, okay, I got to do this so I can get it out there. I got to do this so I can get it out there. I got to do this so I can get it out there. I need it out there. I need it out there. I need it to prove to me. I need it to give me evidence that, yeah, that's true. When you in imagination, it's all true and it's all real and it's all happening and it's all there now. It's all there now. I want to give you an example of declaring yourself to be something and then watching physical reality shape around it. Have you ever heard of Emperor Norton? He was the emperor of San Francisco. Now, you may say, Jess, but there are no emperors in the United States. That's total malarkey. Not for this guy. Not for Emperor Norton, Joshua Abraham Norton. In September of 1859, he decided that he was done with his reality and he was going to be the emperor. And he declared himself. So on the Wikipedia page for Emperor Norton, I want to read you one of the paragraphs of what he did. Norton proclaimed himself Emperor of these United States in September 1859, a role he played for the rest of his life, which was 21 years. Norton had no formal political power, but was treated deferentially in San Francisco and elsewhere in California, and currency issued in his name was honored in some of the establishments he frequented. They'd let him use his own currency. Some considered Norton to be insane or eccentric, but residents of San Francisco and the city's larger Northern California orbit enjoyed his imperial presence and took note of his frequent newspaper proclamations. Norton received free ferry and train passage and a variety of favors, such as help with rent and free meals, from well-placed friends and sympathizers. Some of the city's merchants capitalized on his notoriety by selling souvenirs bearing his image, and he died in January of 1880. So, if Joshua Abraham Norton had looked out in his 3D reality and thought, there's no emperors here in the United States, so that means I can't be one. Do you think this would have happened? No, he didn't. He declared himself. The newspapers would actually print his decrees that he would issue in the newspaper. And you may say, well, he wasn't actually an emperor. Again, when we say things like that, we're letting 3D dictate who we are. We are letting the things that we have been taught, the way that we have been raised, the reality that is true for other people influence us, right? We are letting these things influence us, and we're not deciding who we want to be. He decided he wanted to be emperor, and then he was. And he was. Do you think for a second he dropped the act? No, because he was it then. At that point, he was the emperor. So much so that he now has his own Wikipedia page legitimizing it. So, look into your mind. If you are, some symptoms of still giving power to 3D are, why isn't this working? Why am I not mastering this? Why can't I figure it out? Why am I not getting what I want? Because when you look at the 3D and you try to do manifesting techniques in order to change the 3D so that you can then have it, that's what is being done wrong. What we want to do instead, to master this, to be someone who is really standing in their God force, you have to prioritize your imagination as the origin point, as that's where it all begins. So that's where you go consistently, religiously, all the time. When you want to change something in your 3D, you don't go to the 3D. You go to imagination. You go to imagination and you change it there. And you invest your truth in the image that you see that you're like, yeah, that's so true for me. And you feel it. You can feel the truth of it in your heart, right? When you really visualize your desire of who you want to be, what you want to experience, the people that you want to be surrounded with, it feels really good. And that is your indication that you've hit the mark. You're being it right there in that time that you are visualizing it. But what most people do is then they open their eyes, they're like, oh, that was a nice fantasy, and they move on with life. That's not what Emperor Norton did. That's not what you're going to do either. Claim the power that you have in imagination, because in imagination, it's already true. It's already accomplished. It's already there, real, right? It's not some fantasy place. It's your ability to move your awareness to realities that already exist. You're the one saying, oh, it's just a fantasy. I'm trying to manifest it, because you're still thinking that 3D is where it's at. It ain't. It's in imagination. Imagination is where it starts. Imagination is where it ends. Imagination, imagination, imagination. The ironic thing is that what we call the 3D is actually just a sliver of imagination. It's just a sliver of imagination that we have selected and put a little bow on it and said, this is reality for me. That's what we've done, that we have declared it to be reality. When we could declare any reality to be reality. Anything we see in imagination, we can say, I trust that this is true. I believe that this is true. And you can feel it and you keep building that belief and standing in it. It's like, this is true for me. I don't need to see it out there. I am it. I am it. So, break free from that bondage. Because this is the only thing holding you back from being a total master badass at this whole reality creation thing. You've probably been on this road for a while, as I have. Take all the power back. Take all the power back. Think of it like two grocery stores. If you have a favorite grocery store you go to, if suddenly the prices got really, let's say they doubled. Let's say if all the prices doubled at your grocery store. You would not hesitate to be like, I'm taking my loyalty from that place and going somewhere else. I'm going to go down to the competitor down the road, and I'm going to believe that they've got the best produce. I'm going to go there. That's where I'm going. Do the same thing if you conceptualize 3D reality and imagination as, I kept going to 3D reality. It's just not working for me anymore. And I'm going to go to imagination. That's where I'm going to get what I need. That's where I'm going to get it done. That's where I am going to put my attention. I'm going to go into that huge smorgasbord of all of the possibilities. Locate the one that feels good to me. Invest my belief and my trust into it that this is what is real. And keep doing that. Stay there, because that is what is true. Just like Emperor Norton. He didn't for once, he wasn't standing there in the street corner, I am emperor, I am emperor, I am emperor, I am emperor, trying to convince himself that he was. He was it. He decreed it. He was it. And then the entire city shaped around him. The entire city started playing along. Because what happens in most people's experience of normal life is that they let 3D reality dictate who they are, what they can have, when they can have it, what they believe, right? They let other people influence. Oh, you can't be emperor. There's no such thing in the United States. They let everyone else's limitations and their own perceptual limitations, which it's really all us in the end. All of these other opinions of people are projections that we're blaming it on them, that we're assigning to them, because it's all us at the end of the day. We're letting all of this influence us. We're letting all of this outside stuff distract us, take us away from our only job, which is to go into the God force imagination, where everything is real and possible. Locate the truth that we want and stand behind it. And keep going back there. If you don't see what you want in 3D, revise it to your imagination. If you didn't like what someone just said to you, revise it on the spot in your imagination. If you want them to be nice to you and they're mean to you they just said something rude, revise it on the spot right there. Right there. Continue giving yourself what the 3D ain't giving you. And guess what? You got the entire gamut of your imagination to deliver on that. That rude person could have just said the most meaningful, sweet thing to you. Oh my gosh, wow, I didn't know they felt that way about me. That's what you do. And you quit giving 3D reality center stage. Quit letting it climb up on stage and steal the show, steal your attention, steal your emotions, dictate who you are. You stop that. You stop that. And you take every last bit of that power back and you go to imagination. That's where you go. That's where it starts. That's where it ends. That's where you have dominion. I think what people imagine when they come to this whole process is that they're going to be able to point at 3D reality and say, dog, it turned into a tree, and suddenly it happens. But the problem with that is that you haven't primed yourself in imagination. You don't actually think that that's true, so you're not going to see it in 3D. And then most people lose hope. They become kind of hopeless of, does this really work? And what I think a lot of us do is overcompensate by putting a lot of effort, trying really hard, being really diligent with robotic affirming and visualizing and signing up for all these coaches programs and investing all this time and money. That's what I did. That's what I did, is being a really good student of this. When really you're it. You're it. When you're emperor, you're emperor. Claim it, be it. If you don't feel, again, if you don't feel comfortable proclaiming it out loud to the 3D, the I am emperor, that's okay. Be it inside. It's all in here. It starts in imagination. Be it in imagination. Give it to yourself in imagination. Have it in imagination. Stay in imagination and keep feeding it to the point that you are convinced that is what's true for you, because it is. It was always true. It always has been true. But we like evidence. We like experience, right? That's what the 3D gives us. We like that experiential little kick of like, well, yeah, there's my proof. You have plenty of proof in imagination. You have literally all the proof you could ever want in imagination. So show it to yourself in your mind's eye, experience it there, and that's it. Like, it is real and true in the moment you've experienced it there. And so what if it's not in 3D yet? That doesn't matter. We're not talking about the same thing. So you got this. You can do it. Let me know what you thought of this video. I know it was helpful for you. Drop a comment below if you would like to engage. I'm happy to engage with you. And have a great day. Thanks for watching.